Working session to order. Roll call?
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Commissioner Decker,
Here.
Commissioner Hill,
Here.
Commissioner Mingus,
Here.
Commissioner Sutherland,
Here.
Mayor Call.
Here.
All present are here.
Thank you, Jill. This evening's working session consists of two topics, the audit presentation and the city tax levy discussion, both which will be led by Mr. Becker. And I will note that there is no formal action taken. This is nothing more than a working session, informational only. Jeff?
Thank you. With us this evening, we have Adam Pulley, who is what do they call you guys now? You're not partners anymore? Principal at Clifton Larson Allen is in charge of our audit, and he's got some slides that are in front of you, and they're going to do a presentation over that.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. Good evening, everybody. As Jeff mentioned, I'm pretty much just going to be going through this slide deck that I believe got passed out at a very high level, very brief. It'll cover the financial statements that got issued as well as the required letter to governance and management letter as well. So that in mind, I am going to go to page 2, overall highlight of the financial statements. If you were to go through the financial statements, page 1 is where you would find our audit opinion over the city's financial statements. And we did give a clean or an unmodified audit opinion. That is the best opinion that we can give. On page 4 is where the government-wide statements can be found. Those are on the full accrual basis, which means it includes all capital asset activity, long-term debt activity, pension-related items, other post-employment benefits, anything under the sun. And realistically, that is on a level of accounting that you're probably not accustomed to seeing month to month. I imagine that you see more on the fund level, the fund statements with the financials month to month. But that said, on the government-wide statements, as we do give an audit opinion over them, this is where you'd find assets plus deferred outflows of $209 million, contrasted with liabilities and deferred inflows of $243 million, resulting in a net position of the city of negative $33 million. Now, that is a change, a positive change in net position from 2018 of $1.67 million. Page 24 is where the footnotes start, and that has a slew of information that supports the various balances on those government-wide statements. A couple notes I'll briefly highlight. Note 8 identifies the deficit fund balances in a couple funds, being the special tax allocation and the capital projects fund. Can be found on page 51. And note 16 notes the prior period adjustment or restatements that were needed to adjust the beginning balances during the fiscal year. So one thing that had a huge impact on the city this year, and it impacted all governmental reporting entities, was a change in accounting policy, or accounting method, I should say, requirement. I know that there's probably some of you that have been on the council for a little while now and some that are new. You may or may not remember or be aware that a few years ago, accounting standards changed to where the pension liability had to be recorded on the city's financial statements, as well as community colleges, school districts, any entity that reports under government accounting standards. And that liability tended to be a very large number that was put on, again, these government-wide statements that are on the full accrual basis. So it does not touch your general fund. It's not recorded on the fund level. But that said, that change in accounting standard for the pension liability is representative of an actuarially driven figure that represents essentially what your fire and firemen and police officers are earning currently, as well as in the future, and what that liability would be in the future. So it is not, while that liability is sitting on the books, that does not mean that the city has to write a check for that amount or things of that nature. The reason why I'm bringing up the pension standard from a few years ago is what changed this year is the other post-employment benefits other than pensions. So this would be the post-employment benefits the city provides to retirees for health care, health insurance. That is now being recognized in the same way as the pension standards were changed a few years ago. So it essentially has the same effect, where it adds a large liability to the front statements or those full accrual statements of the city, and that is being experienced by, like I said, pretty much all governmental accounting reporting entities, not just in the state, nationwide. So that is had a big impact. I noted here that there's about $53 million worth of a change, and it's a big number, but it's actuarially driven, and it is very much a significant estimate. So I'm trying to give a overview as clear as possible without going into too much detail, but that is a big change that impacted in FY19. So with that, I'll go ahead and move forward briefly to a few graphs on page 3. This shows the revenue of all your governmental funds, broken out by different types of revenue. Towards the top, you can see the total revenue of all the governmental funds in 2018 was about a little over $45 million. In 2019, it was about $47 million, so about an increase of $2 million. Of course, there's fluctuation in different types of revenues, but the long and the short of it is a lot of it was found in increased sales taxes in the general fund between 2018 and 2019. Looking at the expense side on page 4, expenditures by function, again, is broken out at the bottom, blue bar being 2018 and the purplish one is 2019. You can see the expenses between 18 and 19 decreased a little bit, roughly $700,000 or so. There's some shifts in different categories, but there's just less capital projects that were incurred during 2019. On page 5 is where you would see the residual fund balances broken out at the bottom by major fund of governmental funds of the city, and then on the far right is all the rest of the governmental funds aggregated together. So you can see the change of fund balance. The general fund had an increase of nearly $2 million. Riverboat Gaming went down roughly $600,000 and so on and so forth. But the majority of the general fund, once again, was due to those sales tax increases. Page 6 is looking at the enterprise funds. So this is going to be your water sewer, your marina fund, as well as the East Side Center fund, which was not incorporated in those previous slides there. And you could see the change in the fund balances in those respective funds between 2018 and 2019. Page 7, I want to touch on those two letters I alluded to at the start here of my presentation. We issue both an internal control letter as well as a letter to governance. So this first page, page 7, would identify any findings or any other recommendations that we came across during the audit this year. Each of the items that we have noted here are actually ones that we had noted in a previous year. At the top, the ones that we note as material weaknesses is that over in the marina, there's simply not a lot of human resources out there, so providing an ideal segregation of duties out at the marina is tough to do, but we have to note that there is not an ideal segregation of duties, so that leads to that material weakness. The next item, financial statement preparation and audit adjustments. Every year that we come out to do the audit, the city in part relies on us as the auditor to help put together the financial statements, make certain audit adjustments for things like the pensions and the other post-employment benefits I was talking about. And since we are external auditors, we can't be considered part of the city's internal control structure. So by virtue of that, to maintain our independence, we have to note this as a finding that we assist the city in that preparation and putting together the audit adjustments. The last item here that I have on this page is just an other matter that we noted. It's small enough, it's not material enough to call it a material weakness or significant deficiency, but nevertheless we came across it, and so we just recommend that there's a cash account that over at the East Side Center that kind of carries an unreconciled amount periodically, so we would just recommend look into that and get that reconciled month to month.
Do you know
The
what that
next
accounts
page, the
for?
last.
Is that for like sales and concessions?
It's a credit card account, and if you remember, it's been off the last couple of years. And the first year it was off was 17 that was noted in here, and it was 18,000. And then this year it was down to 9,500. And that's something that we've been looking into and trying to identify, but it goes back multiple years.
Okay.
And trying to track that down has been a challenge.
Okay.
The last item I wanted to touch on page 8 is the letter to governance, which a lot of it tends to be boilerplate language year to year, and actually I, in one way or another, touched on a lot of these bullets on previous slides, but this is a letter that's our opportunity to reach out to you as a council or communicate to you as a council. If we ran into any significant disagreements with management, if we encountered any difficulties during the audit, we did not have any, so we have nothing to report from that standpoint. It does describe that new accounting standard, that GASB 75 for the other post-employment benefits within the letter a little bit. It also notes the significant accounting estimates that are in your financial statements. So again, that's the pension, that's the other post-employment benefits, insurance claims that are incurred but not reported. Things of that nature have a representative value on the financials, but they are estimated, so they're noted here in this letter. And lastly, also within that letter, you would be able to find those adjusting entries that we help the city with to either correct to from the modified accrual basis to full accrual or cash to full accrual to get it up to government accounting standards, more or less. Otherwise, I don't know that I had anything else to report at this time. Certainly appreciate Jeff and the finance department's help during the audit. That new accounting standard is a significant one that we don't see very often, so it definitely added more work and more assistance from the finance department this year, and we appreciate their patience.
Personally, Adam, I thank you. I asked Adam to keep everything at the 30,000-foot level, because if you don't, you start drilling down on the weeds, there's a lot to it. We could be here all night. So I'm going to open it up for questions from the council or any comments that you guys might have.
Just thank you.
Yeah, appreciate the efforts. Hearing none from the council, before we move on to the next topic, anyone in the audience wish to ask any questions or comments on the audit? Seeing no one. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it, sir. Job well done.
Thank you, everybody.
Next topic, Mr. Becker, is the city tax levy discussion. I will inform you up front when we head into the regular meeting that ordinance, and I'll announce it at the regular meeting, but the ordinance number 4470, the increase by CPI of 1.9% will be polling. There's a consensus from the council to keep it rate equivalent. So if that helps your discussion, but if you don't mind touching on both of them just briefly.
Okay, so there was two options originally presented. The first one was option 1, which was the resolution you just talked about, would have increased the rate by 1.9%, which is the cost of living that was given to us by the county this year. And then the second one is the rate equivalent. And again, that one, I'm just going to remind everybody, is an estimate. We get a estimated EAV from the county. Based off of that, we try to determine what increase there is from new property, and then do our estimate off of that to keep the rate to what we believe would be the same as it was last year. Historically, the last couple of years, we've been very close to that estimate, maybe off $1 different on your taxes, very minimal. So that's that rate, and that rate would increase our total taxes $14,780 from the new property this year. But if anybody's got any questions, otherwise that's all I have regarding that.
Yeah, so I know part of the topic of discussion, going back to the previous council, which Commissioner Decker and myself served on, if folks remember, we increased sales tax 0.5% at that time, and we felt like by doing that, we could keep the property taxes rate equivalent, if you will. We didn't want to raise property taxes, so we opted for that. And those numbers have turned out to be favorable for us, whereas I think this council can keep, at least for this year, keep the taxes, the property taxes rate equivalent. So I know that information was shared with the council individually, just in case they had any questions, alleviate any concerns, and help us make a well-informed decision. So with that, I'll open it up to the commissioners.
This has been something for me that I always take a lot of time to look at, and sometimes it's difficult to know if you're making the right decision. I don't think anybody wants to raise taxes because we all pay taxes, and none of us like to pay taxes necessarily, but we like to have the services that the taxes provide for. It is, when I look at this, I look at where we are. Obviously, we have a lot of needs in the city, and there's no way we can tax ourselves out of having needs in the city. It would be incredibly expensive, and that's not something we should do. We should work to make improvements each year the best we can. But when I look at this, what I don't want to do is next year not to be able to do at least what we did this year. I don't want to fall behind because of a decision we made this year. So when these were proposed, keeping the rate equivalent scares me because that potentially lowers the amount of available dollars for the community. But looking at it this year, there are a lot of things in our favor. First of all, as Mayor mentioned, I believe, Jeff did, sales tax has really been in our favor this year. And the mayor's right. When we increased the sales tax, it was with the decision that we would rather take advantage of the businesses that we have in our town instead of placing the burden on the property owners. It's something that I think we all would like to see happen. We know that the future looks very bright for the city with our debt service continuing to decrease. That only means that our potential money that we will have to spend will increase. When I first looked at this, I was concerned about keeping it rate equivalent because of the potential drop, but I think that this year is the right year to do it. When Jeff and I were talking a minute ago, the projections in sales tax that are here increased more than what we thought we believe that they will be higher than what we originally planned. As well as we've already talked about marijuana coming to the city of East Peoria, not that looking for a financial windfall, but we don't believe that will be financially negative for the city. Also, I believe that there are going to be some pension changes on the horizon. I believe that they could be potentially very significant. At least I don't believe they're going to be negative for the city. So as the mayor alluded to a minute ago, and I guess I'll just put it in my words, I think that this year it is right to keep the taxes where they are and then have the conversations throughout this next year to make sure that we don't fall behind in future years. So I think it's the right thing to do.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else?
I just want to say a few things. When I looked at this, one of the first things that I look at is I look at raising taxes as the last thing, but also considering the declining gaming revenue that we've seen that peak in 2008, and so our financial structure is always changing, like Commissioner Decker is reference to, and the sales tax being a positive. We've got things on the horizon, again, unknowns, recreational marijuana, whether any of the gaming changes, laws in the state of Illinois, improvements coming in motor fuel tax. So I didn't think this year was a year to look at the increase. So I actually was in favor of staying the course of what we had based on those facts.
Very good. Thanks, Commissioner. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll pretty much say a lot of what both Commissioner Hill and Commissioner Decker said. I'm in favor of keeping the same rate, and I looked at some of the same things as far as our costs at the city continue to go up as supplies go up, equipment, salaries go up. So I think our number one priority, we have to meet our obligations for debt and our obligations to our employees and our citizens. But when you take a look at where we are, and I think the previous council did a great job. I think East Peoria's always been forward-thinking and looking at sales tax as opposed to property tax. I agree with that idea. I think that's what the previous council did, and I think that decision is paying off and is doing what they intended it to do, and I don't see a need at this time, the need this year to go to the 1.9. I think the 1.2 is sufficient. I also think just looking at the presentation we had on the audit, our revenue in 2018 was $45,208,113, and our revenue in 2019, $47 million. So we're increasing our revenue from year to year, which I know our costs go up, but our revenue's gone up, and a lot of that is the sales tax, and I think it's doing what it's supposed to do. So I agree with keeping the rate the same.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Well,
Commissioner?
I don't have a whole lot to say, excuse me. I don't have a whole lot to say other than I don't know anything about this, and I'm going to have to learn. I've been reading, and it's, once you think you grasp a page and you understand what it's saying, you turn to the next page and it changes what you thought you just learned. So spending a half hour like on tonight and without me knowing more and having somebody teach me more or me ask questions more, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm insufficient here, and I'm going to correct myself here. Sorry.
That's fair enough. No one's going to beat you up before everyone starts somewhere, right? We'll get you up to speed over this next year. But anyone in the audience wish to make any comments? Mr. Norberts?
It's good to see that we want to hold the property taxes steady to where they've been. But the question was posed earlier, what are we doing to increase revenue to take care of all the increases of the cost of the city? The property tax, it goes to pay the pensions, correct?
It's about 82% cover the pensions.
Yeah, so, and every year.
Of the city's portion, so let's make
Yeah.
that clear. The
Yeah, the city's
The
portion.
city's portion
Yeah.
is about 13%,
Yes.
East Peoria City corporate on your
So-
tax bill.
So basically, the operation of the city is run on sales tax then, right?
That's the vast majority of it, yes.
So we just had a sales tax increase last year.
Mhm.
So in order to continue, won't we have to increase sales tax again? Or a very large chunk of property tax next year?
We'll have to see where we land heading into next year. That's why we have these discussions every year.
And it's just a thought that is that, you know, as you know, it seems like we're going this way. Here, we're not making any headway. We're just staying pretty much flat and trying to do what we can with what we can. Somewhere in the future, we're going to have to look at a lot of different things in order to make improvements in the city and continue to fund the operations with all the increased growth. And currently, inflation's been favorable right now, but in the future, you can see inflation rising. So, like I said, it's great to see that the city's going to hold its portion, because I know that probably the other 8 or 10 taxing bodies are going to max out on us. So
Yep.
I appreciate your time.
Valid points. Thanks, Don. Anyone else wish to address the council?
There's one thing I've always thought about. I know there are times where if you keep the rate equivalent, your taxes will actually lower. And there are times where you keep the rate equivalent, the taxes will raise. One question I have, and I believe I know this to be true, but just to say it for anybody that might watch this, that is largely dependent on the economy as a whole and our values of our homes. Am I correct?
Yeah, so that's back in that estimated EAV I was talking about before. the county gives us an estimate, but even currently, there's people disputing their EAVs and stuff, so it's just an estimate as we sit here tonight.
Right.
And we don't know where that's going to end up falling when they do the taxes.
So the best of our ability to try to keep that rate equivalent, which is it 1.21? Is that 22?
1.22.
22? It may then land a little higher or a little lower than that, just because this is our best effort, correct?
Correct.
Very good. Well, that concludes the working session. We will begin the regular meeting at 6 PM sharp. Roll call? Oh, I need a motion, yeah. Geez, what am I thinking? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Very good. Roll call?
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Commissioner Mingus?
Aye.
Commissioner Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All vote aye.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
We'll go ahead and call this regular meeting of the East Peoria City Council to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Here.
Hill?
Here.
Mingus?
Here.
Sutherland?
Here.
Mayor Call?
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please rise for the invocation. Remain standing for the pledge.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we are thankful for our many blessings, and we ask that during the season of giving, you keep reminding us to do your work and help those less fortunate. Heavenly Father, we ask for your blessing tonight as we gather to conduct our work. We pray for guidance and ask that you show us how to conduct our work with the spirit of teamwork and cooperation. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the minutes, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the minutes of the special meeting for a working session held on November 19th, 2019, the minutes of the regular meeting held on November 19th, 2019, and the minutes of the public hearing held on November 19th, 2019, be approved as printed.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. Roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present, voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Under communications, I have a proclamation to read first. Whereas on a serene Sunday morning 78 years ago, the skies above Pearl Harbor were darkened by the bombs of Japanese forces in a surprise attack that tested the resilience of our armed forces and the will of our nation. And whereas on National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day, we honor the more than 3,500 Americans killed or wounded during the deadly attack and pay tribute to the heroes whose courage ensured our nation would recover from this vicious blow. Their tenacity helped to find the greatest generation, and their valor fortified all who served during World War II. As a nation, we look to December 7, 1941, to draw strength from the example set by these patriots and to honor all who have sacrificed for our freedoms. And whereas the Congress, by public law 103-308, as amended, has designated December 7th of each year as National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. Now, therefore, I, John P. Call, Mayor of the City of East Peoria, do hereby proclaim December 7th, 2019 as National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day in the City of East Peoria, and encourage all Americans to observe this solemn day of remembrance and to honor our military, past and present, with appropriate ceremonies and activities. I urge all government agencies and interested organizations, groups, and individuals to fly the flag of the United States at half-staff this December 7th in honor of those American patriots who died as a result of their service at Pearl Harbor. Very good. So, greatest generation, that's an understatement. So please remember everybody, the World War II veterans in Pearl Harbor on December 7th. Greatly appreciate that. And next, we have some honored guests with us this evening. Teresa, would you like to step forward? Introduce yourself and let us know who you brought with you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Teresa Mustaine. I chair the East Peoria Festival of Lights pageant, the Queen pageant. This is my 13th year over this event, and I truly enjoy bringing the community together. There are some lovely young ladies in our community that have the courage and conviction to enter this pageant, because it takes a lot to get up there in front of your peers and your family. As you know, Ashlyn was a wonderful queen, and you realize what it takes to do that.
It takes a lot of courage.
It does. It really does. So this year I brought the Queen and her court with me to introduce to the City Council, and I want to thank Doug McCarty also for his support in the past, and every time I have a question, he's always there to help me out and guide me along the way. So Doug, thank you. I'd like to introduce this year's second runner-up, Jexie Bolding.
Hi, this was a great experience for me, and I'm really hoping and looking forward to doing it next year, and I want to thank you all for your support.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Jexie. And our first runner-up is Jadlyn Everett. Jadlyn?
Hi, I'm a senior at East Peoria High School, and I plan to go to the U of I in Springfield, where I'm not exactly sure what I want to study yet, but I will figure that out. And I'm a National Guard right now, and I will go active duty after high school and after I finish college. And I just want to thank all of you for everything that you do for our city.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jadlyn. And this year's queen, Chloe Rogers.
Hello, everyone. As you should know, I am a junior at East Peoria High School. I just wanted to read it what my court said and thank you guys all so much for your never-ending support. After high school, with the scholarship that I got from this lovely pageant, I plan to go to ICC and then transfer to University of Illinois to get my teaching in English. And I just want to thank you guys again so much for your support. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to all you lovely ladies. You all did a fabulous job, and I know you will represent the city well.
They will. Thank you very much.
All right, let's give them a round of applause, huh? Great job, ladies. All right, anyone in the audience wish to address the council on an agenda item? Please step forward. Seeing no one, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt. Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a consent agenda consisting of items numbered 1 through 3. Item number 1, adoption of resolution number 1920-090, resolution to approve payment of the scheduled bills listed on schedule number 14 in the amount of $2,574,387.47. Item number 2, adoption of resolution 1920-083, on its second reading, resolution approving the annual contribution to the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council. Item number 3, adoption of resolution 1920-086 on its second reading, resolution approving contract with Stark Excavating, Inc. for storm sewer extension as part of the Altor for land improvements as listed on the agenda for this meeting to be considered by omnibus vote.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have, oh yes, let's
Yeah.
see, I got the second
Finish
part.
that one out.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that items number 1 through 3 listed on the consent agenda be hereby approved and adopted, and the items numbered 2 through 3 having been read once by their title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. And before Commissioner Hill moves on to the items removed from the consent agenda, I will state that the first agenda item, approval of ordinance number 4470, has been pulled. The council, there's a consensus to go with the second option, the second agenda item, as our tax levy for April of 2020. So with that being said, Commissioner?
Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4471 here to attach annual tax levy ordinance for the city of East Peoria, Illinois for the fiscal year from the first day of May, AD 2019 to the last day of April, AD 2020, keep the same rate as last year, no increase in the rate, be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
All right, in the working meeting, there were some comments, and I'm assuming that some of those same comments will be made here, that when we look at our expenses, we look at our revenue, we can always use more money. Obviously, we have expenses that go up, we have capital improvements that we need to spend money on, but the council as a whole, and they can speak to it, have looked at where we're at from sales tax revenue and where we're at in some of our positioning financially, and have decided to keep our sales tax rate flat or with the 2018, try to keep it consistent with 2018's rate of 1.22.
Very good. Comments from the council?
I'll just quickly state, Mayor, that as Commissioner Hill alluded to, we have many needs in the city. We have more needs than we have money for. It would be improper and impossible to tax our way into meeting all of those needs in 1 year or even in a couple of years. I think we are doing a good job of stretching our dollars as we can. One thing I never want to raise taxes, but I never want to not have enough money to meet the needs of the community either. So it's a balancing act, looking at how much money we believe we are going to have next year compared to how much we need. I've always thought that it would be nice to do both the budget cycle along with our tax levy, but I don't think we can do that. It's difficult sometimes to look at this and try to project how much we will need. So what I looked at this time, just to let everybody know, is our sales tax is doing very well, better than what we expected. We have some things on the horizon that we believe will bring us more income into next year. So I think it is always more comfortable and better if we can keep taxes where they are. So this is a good year to do that, with sales tax being as good as it has been. Hopefully next year we're having the same conversation. And I think if we look off under the horizon, not that we can just wait till then, but around year 27, 28, we should see the fruits of a lot of the labor that have been put into the city of East Peoria with the investments we've made in our community. A lot of those debt services will be falling off at that time. So that's somewhat how I came to my decision. I'll support this tonight.
Very good. Commissioners? Commissioner Sutherland, any comments?
No.
Hearing none, very good. I'll just echo what Commissioners Hill and Decker have said. You know, we made a concerted effort, I should say, as a city over the last several years to maintain the property tax at rate equivalent, is what I call it. You know, we rely heavily on sales tax revenue. We've been blessed with an increase in that. The previous council had increased sales tax percent by 0.5 cent. We made that decision on the previous council under the pretense that we'd try to maintain our property tax rate. So that kind of lands us where we're at here today. I'll just, you know, I always try to use this time of year to educate people. Typically, we have a larger audience. Actually, I'm kind of surprised it's relatively light for tax levy time, but the city corporate is what we're listed at on your tax bill. And the city corporate taxes that the city recoups through our property taxes is roughly a little over 13% on average. We have 2 townships, so everyone's taxes vary somewhat. But, you know, I think that's important to point out because you typically have 8 or 10 taxing bodies on your tax bill. So I always encourage our residents to look at your tax bill and make sure that you're keenly aware of where your taxes are going, and everyone has their own set of public meetings. So I encourage anyone to speak up to the appropriate taxing bodies at the appropriate time of year, which is this time of year. So I applaud the city for doing the right thing, and I appreciate the efforts by all the commissioners up here. So, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Second item, Mayor, be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that Resolution 1920-088 hereto attached, a resolution approving renewal of property casualty and liability insurance coverage and workers' compensation insurance coverage with Illinois County's Risk Management Trust be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move that this resolution number 1920-088 be accepted on its first reading and as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
We have, our current agreement ended actually November 30th. And so this is to renew where we get our insurance for our property casualty and workman's comp. And the historical information working with the Illinois County's risk management through Cool and Company, Cool Insurance, has been a positive experience. And so this is just a renewal at this point. There is this year there will be $4,297 increase in the cost, but the costs have been maintained pretty much through the history of this relationship.
Any other comments from the council? I'll just quickly speak to this. This is about, 4 months in the making. I know Mr. Jeff Becker really appreciated this exercise, but we've done I want to give hats off to Denise at Cool and Jeff and all the department heads. I know it was kind of a painful process over the last 4 months, but we literally went through all of our assets and basically, heading into this renewal, we wanted to make sure that we had the proper coverage, the proper values. It was painful, but we removed some things that we haven't had in a number of years, and we added some things that we've recently purchased. So I think moving forward, we'll have a lot more transparent, stay on top of it, but that's why you see a nominal increase. And hats off to everybody that put forward the effort. I know it was a big task and it consumed a lot of time, but it was well worth it in the long run. So appreciate that. Roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 1920-091 hereto attached, resolution approving the purchase of 20 desktop computers, 9 laptops, and associated computer equipment to upgrade outdated computer equipment throughout the city from PTC Select in the amount of $23,503 be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move that this resolution number 1920-091 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
This is an annual program, as it's as the description there, of replacing outdated equipment, just like we do with police cars and other fire equipment. There's a cycle. It's 3 to 4 years, Mr. Becker, I believe, retirement cycle.
Correct.
Yeah. So again, this is replacing, or at least budgeting for and purchasing equipment, replacing old. It's important to keep up to date as processing changes, memory changes. The risk for infection due to old, obsolete operating systems are no longer supported. The virus protection is no longer build protection for them either, so it's important to replace some of those.
Comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll just point out that we requested bids from 3 vendors and received 2 on-time responses. This is the low price on the bid, $23,503.
Yes, I had that and forgot to mention that. Thank you.
That's okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Be it resolved, Mr. Mayor, one more. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that Resolution 1920-089 hereto attached, resolution approving Public Works Building Sheet Metal Replacement Project proposal from Blenier Builders, Inc., in the amount of $75,000 be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution 1920-089 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
Okay, we had let's see, where's my note? We had a weather event that damaged the siding on the Public Works building. And although there's been a repair that has temporarily improved the situation, there's gaps and it's no longer efficient from a heating perspective. So this is to reskin the Public Works building in its entirety. And I believe the materials that are going to be used to have a 40-year was going to use the word warranty, but maybe they're not warranted. 40-year steel is what the documentation that I'd seen, so. Anything, Dennis?
No, you're right on track. The weather event actually pulled the siding loose on most of the whole entire backside of the building, so it leaves quite a bit of gaps, and it'll be a big improvement to get it redone and get us through the next 40 years.
Very good, thank you.
Comments from the council?
Yes.
There you go.
I went back and looked at the problem, and I even brought it up to a couple people involved with the city that was pointing in this direction. The salt dome didn't used to be there, and the city used to store their salt on the backside of this building and pick it up off the ground. And you can see tractor blade marks in the side of the building, and you can see rust everywhere on the backside of the building. You walk on the other side of the building where the salt wasn't stored, you don't see near or any of the same problem. I think that after we get this thing fixed, if it is all ever possible, if we have a possibility to move the salt to an off-site place away from the building to where it doesn't get eaten away again, because even if the salt isn't stored on the ground anymore, you can go out there on a windy day and you can taste it in your mouth. And so it's got to be getting on the building. So it's just common sense that it was kind of a bad place to put it to begin with, and I think we're just doing it again bad, and so I hope on the first chance we get to move it, we do. That's it.
Duly noted. Other comments? Hearing none. You know, we were looking at originally two options, just the repairing the one side. That just made absolutely no sense. So this $75,000 would be paid from a capital building fund. So it's the right thing to do, and I agree with you, Commissioner. I think we do need to take a look at possibly looking at an alternative spot for that, because I concur with your assessment there. So, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that's all for me.
Very good. Commissioner Decker.
I would like to say something to your point just a second ago. I agree. It would be nice if we could find a location different for the salt, and as well as create an area of storage of different materials and things that I think could save us in the long run, being able to store materials on site instead of having to take stuff back and so on, and make so many trips to the gravel pit or wherever. I say that because I'm not going to be here in a few minutes. I'm going to read this, but just so the audience knows, I'm going to be leaving after this to go attend my son's band concert. So I just want to say that now instead of just getting up, walking out. So, Mr. Mayor, I have one item, resolution number 1920-087. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 1920-087 here to attach, a resolution approving a right-of-way use agreement with CSL Realty LLC, Unit Fiber, be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution number 1920-087 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus. We actually had this item in 2018. I believe it was June 2018, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, June 2018. And at that time, it was with McLeod USA. They have been purchased by CSL Realty. So the attorney's office felt it was better if we changed this resolution to reflect the new owner of the company.
Well said. Comments from the council? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting, Your Honor.
Thank you.
That is all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, enjoy. Commissioner Sutherland.
I have nothing, sir.
Very good. Commissioner Mingus.
I have two items, Your Honor. First item, Resolution number 1920-065, hereto attached, a resolution approving a collective bargaining agreement between the City of East Peoria and the International Association of Firefighters, Local Number 1498, for a period beginning May 1st, 2019, and terminating on April 30th, 2024, be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution, number 1920-065, having been read once by its title, having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. This, excuse me, this is the second reading of the contract with the fire department that was passed at the last council meeting. This is the second reading of that contract.
Very good. Comments from the council? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes, aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you. My second item, Your Honor. Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4445, hereto attached, an ordinance prohibiting the purchase of tobacco, alternative nicotine products, and electronic cigarettes by persons under 21 years of age, and amending the city code to prohibit the possession of electronic cigarettes by minors under 18 years of age, be accepted on its first reading as read by its title, and being laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. This is to bring us in line with the new law that the state passed, I believe, an effective date of July 1, 2019. The state made tobacco products illegal for people under the age of 21, and this brings our ordinance in line with it, as well as gives some clarifying language to electronic cigarettes.
Yeah, well said. Comments from the council? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Very good. Anyone in the audience wish to address the council on a non-agenda item, please step forward. Going once, twice? No takers. Okay, very good. Comments from the council. Commissioner Hill?
Just one thing, remind everybody, the East Peoria Historical Society is having the historic holiday traditions December 7th, 2 different times, 1 to 3 and 4 to 6 at Doring Home Place, 326 Pekin Avenue. So if you want to see how Christmas was in the 1800s, please visit this event. That's it.
Very good. Commissioner Sutherland?
Yeah, I just want to give an update of what I have in my head here a little bit, what I'm working on. Since I didn't have anything to do tonight, I didn't think I wasn't doing something. I'm going to be working on an issue to have tracer wire be mandated anytime we go underneath of a city sidewalk, street, curbs. Heck, I'm even guilty of pulling water lines underneath of a city road without a tracer wire, and because I knew where it was. But I'm not going to be around forever, and I can't tell the next person where it's at. So I think it's going to be really important that because we have a little bit of a problem going up Oakwood Road to where private water lines are going underneath of our streets, and it's caused a little bit of a problem and caused us a little bit of an expense to find these things for the contractor, and it is on us. So on today's purchases and the bills being paid today, there was a truck that was ordered under the last administration that I'm stuck paying for. Don't like it, don't want it. It was the wrong truck, the wrong bed. I don't mind having the right truck with the right bed, but it seems like I'm stuck with it now. So if you see a shiny new truck sitting out front of the Public Works building going nowhere fast, that one's on us. That's it.
Okay. Commissioner Mingus?
I have nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Wow, you guys are all quick tonight. All right, so, at the last council meeting, we had made a public announcement. ABC allowed us to do that. They were here filming the festival parade for their show, ABC's The Great Christmas Light Fight. And I personally want to thank Doug and everyone involved in that interesting project. I mean, it was a lot of work, and you guys put in a lot of time. I know they were blown away while they were here in town. It was a neat deal. We ended up with probably over 200 volunteers that night up at the Winter Wonderland, braving the 28-degree weather for over 2 hours for the crowd to be there. So greatly appreciate everyone that turned out for that. I think it went very well, and we'll find out probably this time next year where East Peoria ends up. But pretty exciting stuff, but kudos to you and all your staff and everyone involved, because it was a lot of work, but a lot of fun, a lot of reward at the end of it. So Winter Wonderland is open up off Springfield Road, Sunday through Thursdays, 5 to 9 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 5 to 11. Of course, we encourage all local people to do the Monday through Thursday, because anyone that lives up there or travels that route knows Friday and Saturdays are crazy busy. So we encourage all the local folks to visit it Sunday through Thursday. Free car seat checks. The last one of the year is tomorrow, Wednesday, at Central House, 201 West Washington, from 1 to 4 p.m. As everyone knows, we skip those in January and February and resume them back in March. So for all those with little crumb crunchers and you're worried about their safety, it's free, well worth it. Go get it checked out. Want to remind everybody, open burning is no longer open. It is closed November 30th. Please abide by it. Be respectful. There's a possibility that you could be fined if it's called in, so keep that in mind. Be respectful of your neighbors, but that ended November 30th, so I want to point that out. And then for folks that are wondering about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, anyone that has, from a customer, from a citizen standpoint, anything to do with business related to public works, everything's handled here at City Hall now as far as counter business. So I just want to point that out. There is a sign down on the Public Works building, but all the friendly staff here at City Hall, Jen's now located up here, so they'll be happy to help you here. So there's no reason, if you have any counter business to do, I encourage you to visit City Hall to have that conducted. Just kind of a more efficient way. We were already doing a lot of stuff here and some stuff down there, and it tended to be frustrating for some citizens, so we just opted to do all the counter business up here. I think she's doing a great job up here, and all the ladies do a great job. They always have, so we appreciate their efforts. But just wanted to point that out. Other than that, I think that's it. Seek a motion to adjourn.
Well, before I make the motion to adjourn, Mayor, if I might,
Yeah.
during the wind we had last week, 40-mile-an-hour gust, I'm missing a rose cover, white, and it's heading toward Morton, the last anybody saw. So if you find it, could please have it back.
Nothing like getting a plug in.
He might even pay a reward if you.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn until Tuesday evening, December 17th, 2019 at 6 p.m.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. We are adjourned until we meet again. Thank you for being here.